I think we are live. Let me check and see if we are live. Listen, don't come for me. Don't come for me. Mm-mm. Let me, don't come for me. Because I got to check and make sure that everything is working the way it's supposed to work. So, because listen, I got everything going on that I supposed to have going on because this is a one woman's show. So let me make sure I'm where I'm supposed to be at before y'all say anything. Because this is a one woman show. Okay. I got to make sure that I'm live where I'm supposed to be live at because this is a one woman show. I ain't got nobody in here making sure that everything is being shared out the way it's supposed to be shared out. I don't have nobody making sure. Nobody in here. Look, there I go. The way it's supposed to be shared out. There I go. There. Nobody making sure. There I go. So let me turn this down. Let me turn this part down. Listen, this part is good because this is the first time I'm doing this, y'all. This is the first time I'm doing this. This is the first time I'm doing this part right here. Now I got to go over here to the screen. Okay. So in case anybody want to come into the room, now I got to go over here and log on to over here just in case I get kicked out the room. Why? Because y'all know sometimes the internet don't be wanting us to be great. All right. Sometimes the internet don't be wanting us to be great. So because sometimes the internet don't be wanting us to be great, you got to be smarter than the internet. Okay. Because y'all got to remember that the internet is man created. All right. My auntie told me that anything that's man created, it ain't smarter than you. You can always be smarter than it. My auntie told me that. She said, listen, you don't have to worry about nothing. There I go. There I go. You can always be smarter than that. There I go right here, y'all. There I go. There I go. I can see me, y'all. Listen, I'm so proud of myself. I am streaming here, and here. Listen, I got a lot of stuff going on at one time, and I'm so proud of myself. Let me. Okay. Okay. Let me go ahead and pour my seltzer water, my sparkling water. Okay. Let me go ahead and pour my sparkling water because I already know I'm gonna need something to drink. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Listen, if this is your first time here, welcome, welcome, welcome. And before we get started, listen, thank you so much for spending this time with me. I am Yashika Foster, the host of Hood Parenting, and you are catching me live. I don't know where you're catching me from live, but you are catching me live somewhere. You are catching me live, and I am Hood Parenting. You're going to find out why I call it Hood Parenting. You're going to find out why I call it Hood Parenting. But if you've been around here for a little while, let me tell y'all about the girl. Let me just bring y'all up to date. And if y'all don't know about the girl, you got to go back and watch it because I can't bring y'all all up to date every time I come on, okay? Because I done made a lot of videos, and so y'all got to go back and watch them, okay? If y'all don't know about the girl, you got to go back and watch it. But let me just tell y'all this, okay? And I didn't know if I was doing this right. I didn't know if I was doing this right. So I asked. I asked, right? Because I don't know everything. I don't know everything, so I did ask. I did. But I'm going to tell y'all right now, the girl going for her EGOT this year. She going for her EGOT this year. She going for her EGOT this year. Listen, I was sitting there thinking about this earlier. She is going for her EGOT this year. Okay. Isn't that the one where you get the Emmy, the Grammy, the Oscar, and a Tony? Because, baby, when I tell you, here's why. She's in the 5th grade. She's in the 5th grade this year, and the way her Oscar women performances be. But let me back up. Let me back up. Mm-hmm. Let me back up. Let me see if anybody come up on here yet. Okay? Don't worry about it. If y'all come in for the first time, make sure y'all go ahead and subscribe to me. Subscribe to me on any platform. Okay? Because if you're watching me and you haven't subscribed, everything will be shut down in a minute, right? Because I'm locking. But then go over to YouTube because that's what everything will be at. I'm going to talk about all the stories. And trust me, I'm the yaya you didn't know you needed in your life. Okay? Because at 51 years, twice divorced, I didn't raise 4 kids, 4 of them is already adults. One of them is 10 years old. She's my cousin, but I've had her since she was 2 weeks old. That's another story, but that's the girl, though. I call her the girl. It's a whole story in that. I got so many stories, honey. When I tell you I got so many stories. So I'm going to tell y'all all these stories and how I got to this place in my life right now. Because I live a good life. I live a beautiful life, okay? I'm from the hood. That's why it's called hood parenting. Why? Because I believe that kids need to understand that there are so many ways to tackle this thing called life. But y'all give up quick. Y'all give up quick. Y'all pick and choose what y'all want to hear. But I'm going to get back to that part. Let me finish telling y'all about the girl because, honey, she's going for her EGOT this year. Y'all know she's in the 5th grade. So y'all know in the 5th grade, that means that she's in the top of her class, okay? She's in elementary school in the 5th grade, okay? That means she's a senior in her class this year, or in her school this year. She's a senior. So that means that she's the top dog this year. And, baby, you can't tell her nothing. When I tell you, you can't tell her nothing, you can't tell her nothing. You can't tell her nothing. So let me tell y'all this, okay? Now, she's 10 years old, 10 and a half to be exact. She'll be 11 in December. So y'all know this past summer, her business. About 3 months ago, if you know, you know, you know. Okay, now y'all know I had 2 boys, but I had 2 bonus daughters, but I got them when they were older. So as far as they business, they went through that with their mamas. So I didn't have to go through that with them. Okay, I didn't have to go through that with them. They business. If you know, you know. Okay, if you know, you know. Okay, so school only been in. This is day 2 of week 2. Because here in our state, we started school last week. Today is day 2 of week 2. Now, her business have only been going on since the summer. She just started her business, okay? And so now, school started last week. Today is, again, day 2 of week 2. So now, her business, and school have crossed paths, okay? Because remember, I told you she's going for her EGOT this year. So she's going for her EGOT this year, and she is the senior in her school building this year, okay? She is going for her EGOT, and so it's going to be an Oscar-winning performance. So let me tell you how the day started. All right, so for me and my life, and the way my life is set up, I started off doing yoga because why? I now have a 10-year-old at the age of 51, all right? Because y'all know she's adopted, okay? Cat. All right, I have a 10-year-old, okay? So because of that, no matter what I'm doing, whether I'm running or whether I'm doing Pilates or whatever, I've made it a point since her business to practice Pilates. Yoga every day for at least 15 minutes, no matter what I'm doing, because why? I feel that in this season, I am being taught balance, centering, and just patience. I'm really being taught those things. And so I'm just like, okay. So no matter what's going on. So this morning, before I go to Pilates, I'm in the garage, right? Before I go to Pilates, I'm in the garage, okay? I'm in the garage. Let me get my life together. This morning, I'm in the garage. Before I go to Pilates, okay? I'm practicing yoga. And while I'm practicing yoga, she comes into the garage and she tells me, she says, my business, right? And I was like, oh my God, honey, right? She's like, my stomach is cramping. I was like, oh my God, honey. And so I was like, oh my God, honey, let me go inside and see if I have any Motrin. Now, I already knew that I didn't have any Motrin, okay? But because I was sitting in the garage, and at this point I was vinyasa, with the part of the Pilates where you're winding down and stuff. I mean, the yoga when you're winding down. And so because I had boys, I know that, and because y'all know I was in the Army, I try to make sure that I listen to what the people tell me, right? Because I don't have all the answers. Because why? I've never had
little girl before from the very beginning. I've never had a little girl before from the very beginning, y'all. Okay, my microphone is breaking and I'm trying to twist it.
Okay, there. So for me, I'm trying to make sure that I'm doing this. I don't know how to do this. I don't. So I'm trying to figure this out. Okay. So I already knew I didn't have any Motrin or anything, but she says her stomach was hurt. Now, here's the thing. I have it on video. I can show it to you guys, but I'm not going to incriminate her. Okay. 5 minutes before she came downstairs, she was in her room dancing. I mean, she was dancing up a storm, y'all, but let me see if anybody came on. Okay. Nobody came on. Nobody wanted to come on yet. Yeah. So 5 minutes before she came on, telling me about how, because she was disturbing my vinyasa, my yoga, she come in telling me about how her stomach and how she was cramping because why? Because it was her business, her business, her business. Because she come down there before she was going to school to tell me it was her business, her business, her business. And so I explained to her to make sure that now that she's in school and everything, that make sure that when it's her business, her business, her business, that her color choices for the day is appropriate because you never know, right? You don't want to wear bright colors because you never know, right? Okay, so make sure you don't wear bright colors because you never know, right? And so sure enough, she came out with bright colors, like as if I didn't say anything, but anyway, her business, her business, her business. So anyway, time come and she came back out fully dressed in her bright pink, and then she says, and I was like, I'm gonna go outside and see if I have some Motrin, and I knew I didn't, but because I knew that sometimes I can come off as unconcerning, I pretended like I went in there to look for some Motrin, although I knew I didn't have any, but I didn't want her to think that I didn't care. So I went inside to go and see if I had some. Like for real, like this is my life, right? Because I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. Like I don't know. Now that I think about it, maybe she and I both are going for our EGOT. Yeah. But see, here's the thing though. She's 10, I'm 51. Okay. I work for my EGOT. She ain't worked for hers yet. So if I get my EGOT, I deserve my EGOT. I'm a half. I'm 50 years old. I'm 51. I'm 51. Okay. She ain't done enough work yet to get EGOT. So if I get mine, okay. So if I'm over dramatic, all right, because this is a lot for me. All right. So anyway, I go in the house to try to get her some Motrin so I can pretend like I care. Because I'm like, girl, you will be all right. Like for real. Like you got a little, like you, all right, you got a little cramp. Okay. So anyway, I go in the house. I ain't had none. She going to school. So now I finish with my yoga. I go to Pilates, y'all. When I get to Pilates, we're literally in the last few minutes of Pilates. As I'm winding down at Pilates, I get a phone call. I knew it was the school because it rang in the school. Hello. Hello. They tell me, they was like, do you want, I just want you to know that she's in the office because she says I don't know what to do. What am I supposed to do? I don't know what to do. Well, just tell her to sit still for a while and take some deep breaths and drink water, and maybe she'll feel better. Because I served in the army. They tell us to take a knee and drink water. That's all I know. So I don't know nothing else. Okay, I don't know nothing else because all I know is that if you got issues in the army, they tell you to take a knee and drink water. So when the school nurse called me and told me that she was having issues and stuff, I was like, I'm not about to leave Pilates and come and get her. I'm gonna need her to just stand, like be still and drink some water. Like she'll be all right. I mean, I don't know what to do because this is forever. Like this is at least until she's 55. Like I don't know what to tell her. So anyway, so me being me, I still don't know how to do this. Why? Because I'm new at this whole being a mama to a young girl, and so I want to make sure I'm doing this right. So after we're wrapping up Pilates, I was like, "Hey, everybody, why? Because I want to make sure I don't know what I'm doing. So I want to get the consensus from everybody. But again, the girl is gonna get her EGOT before the year's over with. I'm gonna get mine too. Okay, I'm gonna get my EGOT too, but she gonna get hers too. She gonna get hers. Listen, she gonna get hers too, but I'm gonna get mine anyway. So I asked everybody. I'm in Pilates. We wrapping up. We wiping down. I say, hey, And if y'all know me, y'all know I did this. I did. I say, hey, y'all know I was the only brown girl in this Pilates class. Mm-hmm. 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 Hey, why? Because I did watch Dr. Phil. Okay, no matter how many things I got, I just want to know if I'm doing them right because I don't want to cause her too much damage. I don't want to cause her too much damage because I know I'm going to do some. Okay, but I don't want to cause her too much damage. So I just want to see, because I mean, like, 9 times out of 10, I just want to see. Like, in other words, I'm looking at her like, girl, they told me that if 5 people told me to do it this way, okay, and one person said do it this way, I'm gonna do it this way. So I'm sorry you agree with that one person, but girl, we're gonna have to go with the majority. So I'm sorry, girl, we got to go with the majority. So let me tell you what happened. I was in Pilates, we was wrapping up, and I asked everybody, I said, hey, do any of y'all have girls? I mean, literally, it was 20 people in here. These people don't know me. They don't even know my name. Okay, we just in Pilates 1 hour a week. They don't even know my name. Anybody have girls? I'm like, hello, excuse me. Hello, excuse me. Does anyone in have girls? Okay, and I'm telling y'all, I must be going for my EGOT because I was very dramatic. Why? Because I'm serious. And when I tell you I was serious, I was serious. I was serious because I really wanted to know, because I always have questions, because I was so serious, because I didn't know if I was doing this right, because I didn't want to be like insensitive when it came to her business, her business, her business. I didn't want to be insensitive. So what I said to her was, when I said to the people, ladies in the room, I said, hey, do any of y'all have daughters? They was like, yes. Like half of the women raised their hands. I was like, daughters that's of age. Yes. Daughters who have came of age, who are now women who have came of age. They was like, girl, yes, 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 yes. Now, mind you, again, I'm the only brown girl. I was like, okay, so this is what happened. 5 minutes ago, here's the proof. Here's my phone. The school called me and told me that she's in the nurse's office because my business, and her stomach was a little crampy. Okay. And they wanted to know was I was to come get her. And I told them no, that I didn't think I was going to come get her, because I didn't think I was going to come get her. And I didn't know if I was doing the right thing. Them women told me absolutely I was doing the right thing. They said she's going to have to deal with this for the next 50 years, and she better get used to it. And I was like, you know what? Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Because I didn't know if I was just being, so they made me feel better. Okay. But doesn't negate the fact that the girl is going for an EGOT this year. And she's planning on getting it probably this semester. Before we hit Christmas, she's going to get it because she got at least 3 of them. I don't know which 3 she got, but she got at least 3. She got the first 3 when she was in kindergarten through 4th. Now, this year, she's going to get that last one. I don't know which one it is, but she's going to get it because she is a pro, honey. And let me tell you, she's a pro. Because, I mean, last year, almost every week she went to the clinic. I don't know what it was for, but now that she is my business, my business, my business, I can guarantee you she's going for the EGOT this year. Yes, she is. She's going to outdo John Legend and whoever else. What is it? The little what is it? Kelly Clarkson. Does she have an EGOT? I don't know. John Legend. I know John Legend got one. I forgot who else got one. But Shania, but the girl gonna have one. That's what I know. She gonna have one. She gonna definitely have one. But yeah, that was the thing I want to talk about. But let me tell y'all. But listen, what else? Yeah, the girl is always a topic. Listen, I can go live every week and talk about, like every day, literally, and talk about the girl. I can go live every day and talk about the girl. I could, right? Because when it comes to this parenting thing, what I recognize is that every child is different and every parent is different. And there is no right or wrong way to do this. There is no such thing as I can build a child. This is not build a bear. This is none of that, right? There's no I made a mistake. Woulda, shoulda, coulda. Maybe if I would have did it this way. None of this. These kids are going to do what they want to do. No matter what you give them, no matter how you guide them, they're going to do what they want to do. That's what I do know. As parents, we have to relieve ourselves of that stress of believing that we did something wrong, or we should have did something differently, or maybe if we had did things this way that our children would have became this, or our children would have did this, or our children would have took this turn, or our children would have took their turn. Because at a certain time frame, we all have to start blaming our parents for things, right? And this is why I say this, to go into my next part of this talk. What did y'all hear when y'all listened to the assemblies at school? And I'm curious to know what the people listened to when they went to the assemblies in school. Like, for real, like when y'all went to the assemblies in school, what did y'all hear? Because I didn't know this was a thing. I didn't know. Like, I still hear people blaming their parents at 30 and 40 and 50 years old about things that they didn't happen, or things that they didn't get, or wishing that things could have happened. If my parents had did this, I probably would have been. Or if my parents had invested in me in this way, I would have been. And I just don't understand that for the life of me. Right? I don't understand that. I mean, maybe, right? But what's for you is for you. But for me, I'm just like, I don't know. Because my thing is, when do we stop blaming other? Because see, I remember going to the assemblies in school, right? And I say this because this is how this is, and I say this literally because I was having this conversation with someone, and they told me, and I've had this conversation with someone before, and it's weird because I didn't even know this was a thing, right? Because sometimes people tell me, they say, Ashika, you talk and you don't even realize what you say sometimes, because I didn't even understand. Like, I didn't, because in my mind, I really thought everybody thought a certain way. I didn't think that people didn't think a certain way. I thought that everybody thought the same way about certain things, right? So when we would go to, like, what they call them, school assemblies. So you know how you would go to school assemblies, like when you were in elementary and junior high, whatever. And I think by the time we got to high school, they didn't really do too many school assemblies, because I think they felt like, okay, ain't nobody gonna show up to them. Y'all don't be coming because y'all think y'all grown now. Y'all ain't coming. So I think by the time we got to high school, they didn't really do too many school assemblies. Okay, but like middle school, especially, we did school assemblies, right? There was somebody there, like, especially like in the hood, right? Because I'm from the hood, Detroit, whatever. So we would have like the black person that did this, or this person that overcame this, or this person did this. So we would have school assemblies, and we would have guest speakers, right? And so when we would have these guest speakers would say things to us, and they would be like, listen, you, right? And they would be talking to all of, whether it was a school or all of the whatever grade, whether it was broken down by all the third graders, all the fourth graders, whoever. Excuse me. Or it could have been like all the whole school. Everybody show up at the same time. It didn't matter. Everybody show up at the same time, right? It didn't matter, right? Listen, I went to all the schools. It didn't matter because we had, listen, I moved almost every year. We had to move every year, but we still had assemblies at all the schools. So it wasn't just one school. I knew it was all the schools because my mama had to move every year, because when they raised the rent, we had to move. Okay. It was just that simple in the hood. Okay. Mm-hmm. 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 They raised the rent. Mama said, we got to go. Okay. So anyway, we get to the assemblies. Then people say, you can do whatever you want to do. You talking to me? Me. You talking to me? Okay. Listen, y'all, I felt like them people was talking to me. Right? And so I did not know that people didn't think people was talking to them. And it's not that I'm special. It's just that I really didn't know that people didn't know people was talking to them. I didn't know that. I thought that everybody knew that those people was talking to them. I thought it was automatic. I literally thought that when you go to places and there are motivational speeches that are being taught to you, especially as a young kid, because as a young kid, we're sponges, right? We're sponges. We hear things, people say things to us, and we pick up things, right? And so when they say things to us, we're sponges. So I literally thought they were talking to me. And I believed them when they told me that. But I've talked to people in my life that said that they didn't believe them people. And so I asked the question because I wanted to understand. I wasn't doing anything, but I just really wanted to understand their concept of why they felt that that message wasn't for them. So I asked them, I said, tell me about why you felt that. And they said that when they would hear those speeches, when they would go home, their life didn't line up with that. And I asked them, I said, well, what part of the speech did they say that? Like, what part of it did it say? And so it was like, it was things that we tell ourselves more or less, right? It was things that we tell ourselves that you could only have these things if these 50 million other things line up. And so those were the stories that they told themselves, unfortunately. That if you, for example, look like this, if you were from this, if you had this, if you went through this, if your family was this, if this was this, if that was this. I mean, they in their mind said that there were so many things that had to be true for them to be that there's no way that they can have that thing that that person had themselves. And I'm not saying that thing exactly, but I'm talking about whatever success that they had in their lives. People told me that they had thought that there's no way that they can have it because, see, it was too many things that was stacked against them for that to be true. And I've asked the question. This is me coaching people. This is me counseling people, and I wanted to understand. I did. I wanted to understand. I wanted to understand. I wanted to understand at what point did they hear that, and so, and they could not identify it. And so when they bought that, when they really, really, really brought that to the surface of themselves, because I know for me, when I was at the assemblies, or when I was at those motivational speeches in school, or those people that came through that talked to us as youngsters in middle school or grade school, whatever, I literally heard them when they talked. And I believed them. And I felt like they were talking to me, because when they talked, there was no parameters. There was no, you can have this if you are this, or you can have this if you are that. You can have this if you are this. I mean, there was that didn't say that to me, right? And I'm not saying that there was anything unique about me, because that's not the case. I'm just telling you that we put those parameters on ourselves. So because we put them on ourselves, we get to take them off ourselves, right? Because we put them on ourselves, we get to take them off ourselves. So take them off yourself. And it's just that simple. Take them off yourself. Because there's so many of us that are still living with those parameters on ourselves, that are living with those, I shouldn't do this because I got this to happen. Or, matter of fact, I'm not going to do this because of this to happen, or because of this that I did, or because of this. Listen, none of that matters. None of that matters. Like in my mind, like, you're supposed to do whatever this life has to offer. It's like, I remember talking to someone one time, and I never knew that there was a limit to what you're supposed to learn. I didn't. I never knew there was a limit to what. I learned how to use chopsticks as a young girl, right? Only because, here's why. It wasn't that I was trying to be fancy or anything like that, or as I was trying to be all, cutesy and I figure I threw that in there. I wasn't trying to be all cutesy or anything like that, or demure. Okay. Wasn't trying to be anything like that. However, I went to a restaurant as a young girl. And when I went to the restaurant, they gave us chopsticks. So in my mind, if they gave me chopsticks, I supposed to know how to use them. It was just that simple. It was just that simple. So what I did was I took them home and learned how to use them. There wasn't no Google back then. There wasn't any of that. Okay. I figured it out until I learned how to use them. I watched the other people use them. And then whenever I would see people use them, whether it was on a commercial, on TV, I mean, it didn't happen overnight. It happened over time, but it happened eventually. But in my mind, they gave them to me, so I have to learn how to use them. But I didn't see it as well, it's optional. I saw it as they gave it to me. So at some point, I need to learn how to use them. And so when I would go to places, and here I was, this girl, and I'll use chopsticks, people would always be amazed that I knew how to use chopsticks. And I didn't understand why. Because in my mind, you're supposed to know how to use chopsticks too, because I know this ain't the first time you came across them. Why you don't know how to use them? Why are you judging me because I know how to use them? You're supposed to know how to use them too. Okay? Okay? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. You had the same opportunities I come from the hood too. You had the same opportunities. Okay? You put yourself in a box. Get yourself out the box. You put yourself in the cage. Get yourself out the cage. How did we get there, y'all? It's amazing to me. I won't call. I didn't know that. It's just the more and more I talk, the more and more I look, the more and more I see. I didn't know, right? Because you can be all these things that you want to be. You can do anything you want to do. You got to have courage to do those things, and you have to do it. And guess what? Once you do it, and if it don't turn out right, you get to change your mind and do something else. You do. And if you don't like doing that, you get to change your mind, do something else. Right? You don't have to live by anybody else's standards, and don't make anybody make you feel like you do. Don't let anybody make you feel like you do. This is your life. And I cannot listen, I cannot speak that enough. And because of what I do, you guys would be amazed of, again, what I see, what I feel, what I hear. People are so much trying to break the chains of what they've been told, what they believe, the things that they're carrying, of the parameters of other people, the boxes that they've put themselves in because they believe they're supposed to do what other people tell them they're supposed to do, and it's keeping them in these cages that they don't know how to get out of, and it's making them unhealthy. It's making them unhealthy, unhappy, and they're coming up looking at life like, where has life gone? And they're transitioning young. They're seeing their friends transitioning young, and it's making a lot of people afraid. And you should be afraid. That's the thing about it. You should be afraid. I walk with the ancestors. You should be afraid. You should be afraid, right? You should be afraid, right? I see relationships are hanging on by the mere thread of people just simply not just want to be by themselves, or the fear that I can't make it financially by myself, right? But yet unhappiness is all over them. Fear and fear and jealousy and competition and all the things is there, but we stay because why? Right? We keep ourselves in these boxes because of the things that we carry, because of what everybody else said we're supposed to do and who we're supposed to be. We all went to those same assemblies that told us we can be anything we want to be. And if we don't want to be that, we get to change our minds at any given time, y'all. We don't have to stay where we don't want to be. We don't. Right? I see so many people every day that live these lives, and they are so unhappy every day. I wish I could tell you. I mean, I'm not gonna say I wish, but if if I mean, I feel what I feel and I see what I see, right? And I'm thankful for it because I get to I get to do this work, and I'm thankful for it, right? But at the same time, it's like I look at people and I'm just like, okay, right? You only get one time at this thing called life. Just one time, right? Are you going to leave it all here? Or are you going to get to the other side thinking about what you wish you had done? Because that's real. That's some real stuff, y'all. That's some real stuff. Getting to the other side and thinking about what you wish you had done. Y'all got relatives right now that cannot transition because they're waiting on other relatives to make amends so that they can transition over, right? Because so that they can forgive them, so that they can slow up and transition. They have to wait on other people to make amends, right? So some other people, so some people's lives are dependent on other people's lives, and y'all have to know that. 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 You get to be anything you want to be in this life. Don't let anybody tell you anything different. As long as you're doing it where you're respectful to others, you have some morals, because if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. And you can't go about your life and just being nasty to other people, because you already know he don't bless no mess, right? Because see, if you being messy over here, just because you being successful over here and you being messy over here, eventually the house of cards gonna crumble, right? Because if it's built on a mushy foundation, it's gonna crumble. Eventually, it's gonna catch up with each other. It's gonna catch up with each other. You can't. That's not how it works, right? Right. And I'm not saying you got to be perfect, because nobody is, but you know the difference between right and wrong, right? You know the difference between right and wrong. It's just that simple, right? You know the difference between right and wrong. Okay, there's a difference between having an off day and you deliberately having an off day. There's a difference, right? But no matter what, the message is simple. We all get to be whatever we want to be in this life. And make sure that you don't leave anything on the table. You go after what's yours, right? Get one shot at this thing called life. Y'all stop bullcrapping out here. I hear a lot of y'all out here talking about what you want to do, and nobody's putting anything into action, because it's almost like y'all waiting for somebody to come knock at your door. And I can tell you right now, ain't nobody come knocking on your door. Ain't nobody's come to save you. Ain't nobody's come to give you no fancy idea. Ain't nobody's come to drop in, because there's nothing out here that's unique or original. You got to just go for it. There's nothing out here unique or original. Nothing. No matter what you do, you got to have courage. And that's as simple as that takes. It's just that simple. That's just that simple. I don't care what you do. I don't care what you do. I don't care what you do. Right? So I don't know who this is for, but I know this is for somebody. Because why? I walk with the ancestors. I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Bye. And if you're not following, make sure you do so. Okay, Aaron, y'all, she can in the live, girl, in the live.